definition of entrepreneur. Wow.
These entrepreneurs come from all walks of life, each with their... Another chiclet hoping to hit the right note with the launch of his new product is 44-year-old Steve Broadfoot. Steve is a former tour manager who's travelled the world with some of Scotland's biggest rock bands. Throughout his career, he's lived almost entirely in a loud noise environment, becoming acutely aware of the problem of hearing damage and the lack of adequate and practical protection. So after 20 years, Steve has quit his life on the road to develop a product that he hopes will change the way we go to gigs and enjoy loud music. In order to get his product to prototype, Steve's working around the clock, discovering and developing new talents he never knew he had. It's a very DIY kind of existence.
Kind of making all this up as I go along, and then tell everybody there was a plan after it. Tour management was like that. You give this air and grace of control and management, but you're just making stuff up as you go along.
Hearing damage is becoming a major issue for the music industry. Record labels and even artists themselves are being sued for millions by audience members claiming they suffered hearing damage at their concerts.
What I'm doing is attaching earplugs to lanyards which go around your neck. The reason being, these, even if they're not joined by a bit of wire, get lost and people don't know what to do with them. But by attaching them to a lanyard, which is brandable and people quite like wearing because it's cool, then essentially it's wearable earplugs. I don't have income coming in at the moment, so it's a little bit tricky. You know, I've got a 15-year-old son. By having this and protecting it, then hopefully I can get some money and I can provide for my son, which I feel a bit guilty about because his mother's probably done more than that than I have.
Steve's son Jack provides the perfect sounding board to test his ideas.
You do see a lot of people wearing lanyards, especially if somebody's like going to see their favourite band or something. It is another bit of merchandise, really. It's something that people have to say, I was there, and if it's got the earplugs and they've used them at that gig, that's another thing that adds sentimental value to it. I mean, I've got people in my school that were at T in the Park in 2010 and 2009, and they're still wearing the like camper wristbands. The reason that this idea is so good is one of those things that you're just thinking, how come somebody never thought of this before?
It's one thing to get positive feedback from family and friends, but quite another to test your product in the market.
So we backstage.
Steve has worked with some of the top Scottish bands, including Franz Ferdinand, Biffy Clyro and The View. He's hoping to use his music industry contacts to help test and promote his new product.
And this casualty. The hazards of life on the road with a view.
Exactly.
I don't know if you guys ever suffer from ringing in your ears from going to gigs down in front. Exactly. But what's happening is basically Chris Martin and Coldplay and Plan B and all that are trying to promote ear protection. They'll all get hearing damage tinnitus. I mean, how's your ears?
My ears are totally. And they will be. I'll give you 10 years, they'll be gone.
Aye.
Well, I went on stevebroadfoot.com to save my ears.
It's a work in progress, though.
Next stop is Tea in the Park, the ultimate loud noise environment. It's the perfect place for Steve to test his as yet unnamed product.
Where's the Zoom? So this is Pauline.
Hello.
This is Jacques' mum.
Hi.
This is my dad, John, whose moustache I have copyright on My boy,
Who wants to get a moustache?
who will no doubt develop a moustache at some point. So, as a more aged customer, is it something you would wear?
Oh yeah. If the lady in my life is giving me a hard time in earache, I would stick these in.
There we go. Plenty of other market opportunities as well. Right, we're on the main stage, and I'm with Dumbo. John, aka Dumbo, is the main man making sure it all comes together. So he's had a wee look at this wee product. So what do you reckon about it, Dumbo?
I think it's a great idea. I'm surprised somebody's not come up with this idea before.
Oh, we're liking that.
If you get it branded, it makes it even better. The fans in it, whatever company's interested in it, it's a great selling point.
There you go. Great endorsement for the stage manager at the main stage at Cedar Park. So we'll leave him on his own because he's got a lot of people to look after. And he's supposed to be busy. Cheers, Dumbo. It was long, it was wet, and it was muddy. But it went well because I managed to speak to nearly 70 key people in the industry, all the people backstage. Basically, I've now got the data which basically says, there is a demand there for it, so now you just got to supply it at the right cost.
Entrepreneurial Spark was set up to help people like Steve turn their ideas into a reality. Back in Glasgow, Jim has further concerns for another of his chiclets. There's an added incentive to why Steve needs to accelerate his business.
How are you?
Aye, good.
How's your treatment going?
Aye, alright, that's the radiotherapy, chemotherapy
Finished?
Aye.
Steve has recently been diagnosed with brain cancer.
I mean, so far it's not been any major hindrance. I mean, getting radiotherapy, they say to you, you'll be tired. Getting chemotherapy, you'll be tired. But they don't know when it's going to hit you. I'm kind of thankful that I had this idea. It's personally given me a focus.
Steve had to have emergency brain surgery after collapsing at his former workplace. The operation to remove a tumour was a success, but he'll need to undergo extensive treatment to make sure it's been completely removed.
So obviously this was how things looked before your operation, Stephen, and what we see is the tumour here.
It still pulls me over. These days you can go in there and take something like that out.
The size and scale of the tumour show how close Steve came to losing his life.
I couldn't tell Jacques for like 3 weeks because Jacques was doing his exams. What I found bizarre at the time was when I was telling him, he was smiling. When I was talking to Pauline about it, she says, yeah, but you didn't see his face when you were looking the other way, His lip was starting to go, so, yeah. It's like you can be, male and strong and all that, but, things get pretty emotional, especially when it comes around to kids. And the way I'm looking at it just now is I'd like to try and make as much of a legacy for Jacques as possible. And without being too much of a wimp. We're all emotional. Just not everybody admits it.
His newly named ear protection product.
The reason why I like it is because it's Scottish.